thanks so much for joining me today, Heather. And I'm so grateful for you for just, you're such a busy person, and I'm really, really pleased that you were willing to share some time with me today. And you're such a relatable person, and you've got such an interesting story. And I know there are going to be people who watch this video and just, it sparks something in them to say, change is possible for me too. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's been a while since we first met. But can you remember, going right back, like what was it that sparked you to come and see me? What was like that turning point for you where you went, enough, I'm going to get help with this?
Yeah, just the constant frustration of like wanting to be healthier, wanting to break bad habits and wanting to move forward in my life, but just always not being able to quite get there. And I came across your website after someone referred me to you for vegan diet for children. And then I saw all the other things that you do, and that's when I decided to come and do the program that I did.
Excellent. Okay, so the background here was that you had some habits in regards to diet and lifestyle that you've just been almost like butting your head up against, trying to change these habits. And so if I remember, and just correct any of these details that you need to, so you had wanted to go 100% plant-based, but you had some stumbling blocks there, yeah? Do you want to just fill in a little bit more detail around that?
Yeah, definitely. Like I wanted to go 100% plant-based because I knew all the health benefits, just finding it hard. And I always kept going back to eating dairy and meat, and just getting the extra information from you, the nutritional information that I didn't know. So broadening my scope of knowledge and giving me that understanding of what the foods would, like I knew they were bad for me, but I didn't have that depth of understanding. And once I had that, and that combined with using the EFT as well, to get to the underlying issue of why I kept going back to eating those foods. Once all like I had that broader understanding and the understanding of what was driving it, that helped me just to break it.
Yeah. So there were really two parts then. One was that you needed to have that detailed nutritional knowledge to understand what were the problems with having animal products, and also, how could you ensure that you were doing plant-based in a healthy way. And then even once that knowledge box was ticked, there were habits, there were maybe cravings, maybe, I don't know, like how would you describe that? Comfort eating or?
Yeah, definitely. But I found, like, because I did your cooking course and I had all the recipes and everything, it was a lot of the time it was that I didn't know what to replace those foods that I was craving with. And when I started doing your eating plan, which helped reduce those cravings, like once I started eating the right foods with the right nutrition for my body, those cravings started to go away, and I was just able to make better choices because I was giving my body the right nutrition and having the mental understanding. And it was just like all these pieces of a puzzle that just fit together. And yeah, and then I started realizing I actually enjoyed the food I was eating from your recipes and other things that I started exploring. I started actually enjoying that food more. And
Oh, so many things that I just want to sort of put an underline on, because I think this is really pivotal. So the first thing is that people often, when they change their diet, they are afraid that this is going to take willpower for the rest of their lives, and it's never going to get to a place where they're comfortable and where they're not fighting cravings, and that just wasn't your experience at all. Yes, you have cravings when you first change, but they diminish. You get to like the new food as much as the old food, maybe more because you feel better for eating it. And pretty
yes,
soon it's your new normal. Yeah. So there was information, and then there was the EFT, the emotional freedom technique, tapping to help you overcome those cravings. Awesome. And There was
Yeah.
some other habits that you had too besides diet, like smoking, for instance. And so, what was the process there for you?
Yeah, I found like for probably like 10 years or more, I was constantly one of those people. I was always quitting smoking, but I never quite quit. And I just got so sick of that repetition and waking up every morning feeling so bad about myself. And the EFT really helped with that, like actually understanding why I was doing it. And then also the diet, like eating that nutrient dense diet, just, like a cup of coffee or a glass of wine with a cigarette is nice, but like after you eat a bowl of kale or a superfood smoothie, you really don't have the desire to go puffing on cigarettes there.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And I think people often think, oh, I couldn't change all my habits at once. That would be too stressful. How about I just change one habit at a time? Like I'll quit smoking and then I'll clean up my diet. But actually, it often works quite differently from that. If you do change multiple habits, number one, you're breaking apart certain circuits, like I'm having a coffee, here's my cigarette. But like you say, you're actually changing your physiology, really healthy eating. And then you look at the cigarette and you go, yeah, you and I don't really belong together anymore. I think it's time to break up.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And that I didn't have any cravings because I had that understanding from the EFT of the reasons behind, and that's something I'd never looked into before. I was always using willpower, like, just trying to resist that urge, but like going into the underlying issues and understanding why. Once I understood that, and it just kind of went away.
Yes. Oh, I love that. It goes to it goes to the effortlessness of the process once you do really reach that understanding. And it's just like a switch flips in your brain and you go, I don't need to smoke anymore, I suppose. That's it, right? The
Yeah,
willpower.
and that's the
Yeah,
way that needs willpower.
yeah. The willpower. See, I've seen so many people over the years who, like you, have battled various habits, and they come to the conclusion that there is a personal deficit in them, that they lack willpower, and that's their problem, and that becomes like a real judgment on themselves that they make, and it really hinders them. And when you kind of see past that and you say, I haven't sort of quote unquote failed, and I hate using that term, but I haven't not reached my goals in the past because of a lack of willpower. I just haven't had, like, I've been trying to open the lock, but I had the wrong key.
Yeah, totally.
I was sort of,
Yeah, so it
shoving
definitely.
against the door with all my might. But wait a moment, you just had the wrong key. If you just turn that, the door unlocks and you can open it and go inside. It's easy. Mm.
Yeah, definitely. And so it's been 3 years now since I transitioned to a plant-based diet, and I haven't had a cigarette. I haven't drank any alcohol for 3 years, and I haven't had the desire to either. And that's something that never happened to me before. I was always like, I could go for 6 months and then I'd go back, or it was just this never-ending cycle, and it's just completely broken now. And yeah, I just, it's amazing.
Yeah. Well, 3 years, you're pretty much out of the woods in terms of risk of relapse, like because you've got a new set of habits now, and I think beyond that, maybe, and you might sort of confirm this or add more to this, but I think there's a different self-image that people have when they're really consolidated in new ways of living. What would does that kind of resonate with you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's just, I feel like I've got just a new sort of blueprint now. And those old habits and ways of thinking are just in the past. It's broken down, and yeah,
You have a new normal. Ah, that's awesome. And
yeah,
then, along with all the diet and lifestyle stuff, we did do some EFT on some other issues, I suppose, more broadly around success and failure. So, uh, fill in a little bit of that backstory as well, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I was doing a similar sort of cycle with my professional life, like trying to reach goals and always falling short. And I just was at the point where I just felt like I was completely hopeless and that I was constantly banging my head against the wall. And doing the EFT definitely helped me understand more like about the underlying reasons. That's always something I keep going back to with everything. Like understanding the underlying reasons helps you realize why you're repeating those patterns, and learning about self sabotage, which was something that I wasn't even really aware of. Um,
Uh-huh.
so
It's
just that becoming aware and the underlying reasons, and that helped me to reach new goals in my professional life, and that's still ongoing for me.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
that's still,
yeah.
I had those four big goals. Three of them I absolutely nailed, and then there's always something that nobody's perfect.
Oh,
um,
okay. I think, and the pivotal thing there is that you now have a set of tools. So it's not like you kind of learn this stuff and then you go, right, that's it. I've evolved. I'm there. It's like
I've attained enlightenment.
yeah, you're gonna have other challenges that you face, but now you have this whole set of tools so that when you face challenges, you go, well, I can handle that. And sometimes it'll be fast and sometimes it'll be slow, which is cool because that's life. It's just an
Yeah,
unfolding
definitely.
process. But instead of kind of flopping around doing unsuccessful things, you now have strategies, you have and you have a mindset, you have a set of understandings that just pave the way for you to keep on developing and growing and not butting up against that frustration.
Yeah, and even now today with what I'm doing professionally, I still use EFT a lot, and I find that that really helps me if I'm going through something challenging. It helps calm me down, and it also helps me understand what else is going on in the bigger picture of it all. So yeah, I've built a really good toolkit of all different things, knowledge, mindset, and the EFT is especially helpful. And I use that all the time now.
Oh, that's amazing. One of the things I love most about EFT, there's so many things I love about EFT, but it's such a great self-help technique. And not all people get that. Some of my clients just want to come here and do the tapping with me, and they kind of don't get, no, this isn't something that I do to you. This is something that I want you to take on board and do for yourself. And you really, really got that, and it shows. Like you incorporate that into your life, and that's how you've been able to face challenges and move through them and keep on achieving your goals. And that's exciting and really gratifying.
Yeah,
I've got to
yeah,
say,
no,
like
it's
you
been,
were, you've always been so fun to work with. Like as a practitioner, you were just such a fun person to work with. Yeah. So cool. Is there anything else that maybe I haven't asked you that you wished I had, or just any other thoughts, like maybe even for people who are thinking, oh, I want to change, I feel so stuck. Like, is there just one thing that you would like people to know who are in that situation of frustration and feeling like there's something wrong with them because they can't change? What would you like them to know?
just don't put too much pressure on yourself, and changing one thing at a time. And I would recommend with like changing your diet first, because I found once I changed my diet, that helped change just the way I felt every day when I woke up. And then that helped give me a really good starting point for building all the other changes. And like it helps you to, if you're trying to quit other bad habits. I had more energy, so I was more motivated to exercise. um, I didn't feel like doing things that damaged my health, because I felt really good from the food that I was eating. yeah, so that's what I just start with one thing and either diet or EFT first.
Yeah, yeah, that's such a powerful point. It's like the diet change is this portal. It's like the first portal. You go through that, and now things are easier. And yeah, I mean, if people are struggling with dietary change, EFT can make such a difference in their ability to line up their intentions and their values with their actual behavior. Because when people are disconnected from their values, like when their behavior is not in alignment with their values, there's such tension that's generated from that. There's all this beating yourself up and feeling bad about yourself and feeling guilty and feeling weak and stupid and all the rest of it. And when you can close that gap so that what you do is in alignment with what you want to do, that's just, that puts you in a really powerful place to make all these other
Yeah.
things. So fabulous. And I was so I was kind of sad when you left Sydney, but then you were, because I miss you. but we actually got to meet up again when I was in Byron recently. So please tell everyone about your fabulous vegan restaurant in Byron Bay, the Beach, where we did an event earlier this month. Earlier this month. I'm losing track of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I
about the beat.
Yeah, I guess, like the beat was something that ended up coming out of my program working with you as well, because I was experiencing frustration in my professional life and then looking like, do I need to go somewhere else? Is and so then I decided to have a big life change. Food became such a passion for me that we decided to open a vegan restaurant, which was a really big event. So we're in Byron now, and we have a little restaurant called The Beat. And when I found out Robin was visiting soon, I was so excited to introduce people in Byron and share what I've learned from Robin, and and also for Robin to share her amazing knowledge with everybody in that community there. And yeah, we had a lot of fun and it was really well received. Especially, I had a lot of girls coming up to me afterwards about the coconut oil.
Oh yeah, that's always a
Yeah,
sort of an eye popper. Coconut oil. You mean coconut oil isn't the best thing ever? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
yeah.
I
So
mean, you have an amazing chef there who's just like everything that I tasted there. It was just amazing what he does with good fresh produce, veggies and grains and legumes, and just the flavors and the presentation. It's so beautiful. So look, anyone in the Byron area, if you're passing through, go to the Beat. It's so awesome. that's
yeah,
so
come say
the Beat, your website is so you do it.
hi. Yeah, so it's the beet, as in a beetroot, beet.com.au.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Heather. I have no
Oh,
doubt
my pleasure.
whatsoever. I've no doubt whatsoever that this is going to help a lot of people. So I'm just really, really grateful to you for sharing your time today. And I'm sure everyone,
Oh, it's my
this is heard in the background, there are some small people who probably want their mama back. So
yeah, exactly. That'll be the soundtrack for this interview.
soundtrack to our lives, right? Little kids. That's okay.
Oh,
Thanks again, Heather.
great.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, thanks